as possibly bleak as this. Drogba! But number one in the Champions League against considerable odds, winning perhaps written in the stars. Now they are the stars. Their name is on the cup, the European Cup, and their name is Chelsea.
On May 19th, 2012, Chelsea would beat Bayern Munich in their own backyard to win their first ever Champions League. After that triumph in Munich, Chelsea would have to wait almost 10 years to get their hands on that trophy again.
It's an Elka, saved by Van der Sar.
Despite becoming the Champions League runners-up the season prior, Chelsea were looking like a shadow of their own self in the 08-09 season. After a mediocre first half season, Chelsea would go through 3 managers that season, axing Scaloni, Ray Wilkins in the process. A hobby Roman Abramovich, the Chelsea owner, enjoyed a little bit too much. In spite of their poor form, Chelsea, as it is in their DNA, would end the season with a trophy
in their history. Frank Lampard and John Terry hold the...
Ancelotti would take charge of the club in the 09-10 season after leaving AC Milan. As the Serie A winner he is, Ancelotti would win a double that season. However, Chelsea would crash out of the Champions League that season in the round of 16 after a 1-0 defeat at Stamford Bridge by Inter Milan, a team that would eventually go on to win the Champions League. In his second season, Ancelotti would bring in signings like Fernando Torres from Liverpool for £50 million. Ancelotti would however fail to reciprocate the previous season's success, finishing second in the Premier League after getting eliminated in the Champions League. Chelsea, in their style, would sack Ancelotti.
I think that Chelsea will be forever in my heart first, and I hope.
After sacking Ancelotti, Chelsea would seek the managerial services of Portuguese manager Villas-Boas, who at the time was having a good run with Porto. The manager spent close to £100 million to bring in players like Mata, Lukaku, Couture and De Bruyne. However, his run at London would be a difficult one, winning 5 of their last 16 games.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
At the time, the Blues were in danger of crashing out of the Champions League in the round of 16 after a 3-1 defeat at the Stadio San Paolo by Napoli. 24 hours after a 1-0 defeat to West Brom, the Blues would once again ask their boss and announce his assistant, the Italian coach Roberto Di Matteo, as the interim manager.
Well, we have a good team, and we will try to improve the team where we think
Chelsea, in a shocking comeback, overturned 3-1 first leg deficit with a 4-1 victory with a 3-1 over the Portuguese maestro. The Blues met with the then current Champions League holders, Barcelona. In a spectacular game, the West London team would take their revenge on Barcelona after beating them 3-2 to head straight to the finals.
It's stoppage time! He wouldn't, would he? He has for Chelsea! And they go to Munich!
It was the second time Di Matteo's side would reach the finals. Just like the 2007-08 season, the final would be decided by penalties.
Terry to win it! Oh, he slipped!
Fortunately, unlike that season, this time around, Chelsea would win the much coveted trophy.
Blue is the colour in this season's FA Cup.
By 2011-12 season, key Chelsea players were starting to age and dip in form. That season would see Chelsea lose their 2 main men, Didier Drogba and Nicolas Anelka.
Please don't go. It's great having you here.
Forcing the club to spend over 100 million to bring in players like Hazard, Oscar, Azpilicueta.
Eden, welcome to Chelsea. How does it feel to finally be here?
Di Matteo's time would however be short-lived after a shaky half of the 2012-13 season. Hours after Chelsea was given a 3-0 brutal lesson by Juventus in Turin, the Italian coach was sacked.
You won the Champions League. It's the holy grail that Roman Abramovich always wanted. And so we thought then that he'd give you a 5-year contract and he'd say...
So I was trying to change a little bit, but that needs a little bit of time. Certainly you hope and you would like to have a bit more time.
The club's statement read, "The team's recent performance and results have not been good enough, and the owner and the board felt that a change was necessary as we head into the vitally important part of the season. The club faces a difficult task ahead in qualifying for the knockout stages of the UEFA Champions League." After Di Matteo's sacking, Chelsea would look to the Spanish manager Rafa Benitez, a man who had led Liverpool to 2 Champions League finals. For Chelsea to proceed to the knockout stages of the Champions League, they not only needed to win their final game, but also Juventus had to lose to Shakhtar, a feat that seemed impossible considering the form Juventus were in. The final game, Rafa Benitez's men would completely annihilate in a 6-1 win. However, a Juventus win against Shakhtar would see Chelsea crash out of the Champions League, dropping to the Europa League. Chelsea would go on to win their first ever Europa League, which was the only trophy that they lifted that season.
UEFA Champions League winners last season. Chelsea now at the UEFA Europa League.
After that mediocre season, Chelsea would go back to their old ways and fire Rafa Benitez after just 1 season.
Someone made a mistake. They put my title interim manager, and I will leave it.
I'm European champion, so the bottle, I think I'm a special one.
The 13-14 season would see the return of the special one to the Stamford Bridge. Mourinho would however fail to live to the expectations, ending the season trophyless.
3 premierships, and I won more premierships alone than the other 19 managers together.
The end of the season would see the team transition with key players like Lampard, Torres, Eto'o, Lukaku and Luiz leave the club. Only Mourinho can go trophyless under Abramovich and retain his job.
Many men wish death for...
To take Chelsea back to their glory days, Mourinho went back shopping, spending close to £140 million to bring in the replacements for key departed players. Diego Costa, Fabregas, Juan Cuadrado, Felipe Luis were some of their most expensive purchases that season. Mourinho would of course not forget his lucky charm, Didier Drogba, who made a shocking comeback from Galatasaray. And lucky charm he was. The special one would lift the Premier League and the Carabao that season.
And I won more premierships alone than the other 19 managers together. 3 for me and 2 for them. Respect.
However, the team disappointed in the Champions League after a painful away goal elimination by France's Hollywood team Paris Saint-Germain. At the end of that season, Chelsea would have to part ways with their legends Peter Cech and Drogba once again. The 15-16 season was looking to be good for the team. The season would not start on a high note after Jose's men lost in the Community Shield to Arsenal. And although at that point there was no panic, their second game of the league would be their joint heaviest defeat Mourinho suffered while in charge of Chelsea.
Aguero goes bottom left and scores to complete his hat-trick at Stamford.
By December, the team was just 2 spots from relegation, and not even the special one could avoid the wrath of Abramovich. The fans, however, did not seem pleased and put out banners reading, "You let Jose down, you let us down." The team would look to the former Netherlands manager and once Chelsea interim manager Guus Hiddink, who previously had won them the FA Cup. That season, Chelsea would finish the league at the 10th position with the joint minimum points the club has ever had. With the team having lost its identity, only one man could save the team.
If a player doesn't do what you ask him to do for the team,
I prefer to kill him and to earn,
The 2016-17 season would be the first time the club was not participating in the European competition since 1996-97 season. Known for his back three and explosive wing-back, Conte would bring in among the mini talents David Luiz and Alonso to the Stamford Bridge, and of course not forgetting the energetic N'Golo Kante. 2 months after the start of the 16-17 season, with just 6 games played, the team was down to the 8th position. After suffering back-to-back Premier League losses to top 4 rivals Liverpool and Arsenal, Conte would switch to a 3-4-3 formation, a decision that proved to be vital in their title race.
After this game, I decided to change our system and to play with the 3 at the back.
Oh my goodness me!
By the end of November, the team had taken the first position, a position they held until the end of the season.
Chelsea, Premier League champions for 2017.
The team would also get to the final of the FA Cup, but their arch nemesis would prove to be strong enough for them.
Oh, they're behind again.
That season would also see Chelsea part their way with their captain and legend, John Terry.
I'm gonna be supporting this team and the players for years to come. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. I love you all.
The 17-18 season had Chelsea fans excited because not only were they back at the Champions League, but Conte would bring in Morata for a hefty £66 million. However, as is infamously known, it was a matter of time before Conte had a fallout with one of his players. In January of 2018, the Italian coach would have a heavily publicized fallout with Diego Costa, causing Chelsea to lose their main man. That would be the beginning of Chelsea's downfall.
I work every day and I give 120%, okay?
With Morata misfiring all cylinders, the team struggled not only to retain the title but also to stay in the top 4.
9 out of 9 with West Ham still to play tomorrow. Morata's on his way here. He's got between the centre halves. Morata has steered it.
Conte would seem to have the answer to the struggling Morata when he brought in Giroud from the arch nemesis Arsenal at the end of January.
Fabregas, Hazard pulls it down. Giroud sidesteps 2 and pokes it in.
And although adding Giroud seemed to rejuvenate the team not only missed the top 4 but as it eventually became a routine, got eliminated in the round of 16 once again.
I don't know what that dream is that you have. I don't care how far-fetched it might appear to be.
Conte would however redeem himself, leading the team to a FA Cup final, which they won 1-0.
You can stumble, you can fall, you can get back up again.
Hazard rolls it past the Gea and Chelsea.
This was however not enough to escape the outrage of Abramovich, and at the end of the 17-18 season, Conte was given a cold shoulder.
So I can accept to write that the club is ready to sack me, and I can accept that the story with the players.
Lovely ball, Hazard can settle it all here, and does. Eden Hazard for Belgium, 2-0, and a great save from Courtois to deny Neymar. They are knocked out. The favourites have gone.
And despite failing to win the trophy, two Chelsea men, Hazard and Courtois, impressed the most, with Courtois taking the Golden Glove and Hazard winning the Silver Ball.
If I told you a week ago that Cristiano Ronaldo was going to be a Juventus player, you would just laugh me out the room.
I think we did.
It's an incredible story, isn't it?
I think we did, and I think most of us, to a man.
After the shocking news that Ronaldo was leaving the Los Blancos and the fact that Real Madrid's keeper Navas was having a dip in form, Zinedine Zidane and his men were convinced that two Chelsea men were the best replacements. Chelsea, of course, did not like the idea of losing two of their most valuable players. Courtois would however push a transfer, forcing Chelsea to spend close to £80 million to bring in Kepa from Athletic Bilbao. Hazard, with 2 years left in the contract, would respectively stay at Chelsea. After a brilliant season with Napoli, Chelsea would go after their head coach Maurizio Sarri.
As you know, the Premier League is very, very difficult.
Sarri would bring in his midfield glue Jorginho and the criminally underrated Kovacic in an attempt to bring the famous Sarri ball to the Stamford Bridge.
From 2015 to 2018, Napoli dazzled all of Europe. A fiery attack, a rock-solid defense, and a real competitor to Juventus, Napoli played sexy, spectacular football. They owe this love of the beautiful game to one man, Maurizio Sarri.
The first half of the season was brilliant.
Wriggles away from Keita. Oh, it's absolutely brilliant from Eden Hazard! What a play!
By the second half, however, Sarri and his team had lost all the plot. From conceding 6 goals to Man City,
there is no passion, there is no vision, there is no aggression, there is no fucking mindset.
To Kepa refusing to come out of the team was in complete shambles, and at the time, the plan seemed like pass the ball to Hazard and let's hope he saves the team.
Hazard trying to find a way through. Oh, that is magnificent!
However, despite all hell breaking loose, the team managed to pick itself, finishing the Champions League spot and lifting the Europa League for a second time.
Maurizio, your first season at Chelsea, you've secured Champions League football for next season, you've been to 2 finals and you're walking away with a European trophy.
Hazard, left with 1 year in contract, Chelsea had to cash in.
Yeah, I think it's a good buy, but in football you never know.
With Madrid desperate after Ronaldo's departure, the Spanish giants paid over £100 million for the Chelsea talisman. Sarri would also follow his players' footsteps and walk out of the Chelsea job.
My job is always at risk.
In February 2019, FIFA ruled that Chelsea had breached the rules relating to the registration of players under 18. Consequently, their only summer acquisition involving a fee was Mateo Kovacic.
Having lost their main man, their 19-20 season went from worse to a disaster after FIFA slapped the London club with a 2-window transfer ban. And although this was horrible news to the club and the fans, it was sweet music to Chelsea's academy players. With Chelsea academy players like James, Mount and Tammy having good spells on loan, it was the right time for Chelsea to trust their prodigies.
Attempted to have a thump here, Reece James! What a goal! What a...
And only one man could build that team. Lampard's first season was an average one.
Why are you so scared of Ajax?
What makes you say that?
You even look scared.
That's just my face.
Finishing top 4 and leading the team to a FA Cup final, which they would go on to lose to Arsenal after some contentious referee decisions.
My first season back at Chelsea in management has been a crazy season for many reasons.
And although the team seemed not to be heavily affected with the transfer ban, the one position that was eating up the team was the goalkeeper, nicking in goals like a sieve.
Chelsea will be very scared. Oh my word, what's Kepa doing? It's horrible from the Chelsea goal.
By the 2021 season, the class of 16-17 season had already departed. Hazard, Willian, Couture, Pedro, Fabregas, only Kante and Azpilicueta were the familiar faces. With the team in the transitioning period, Chelsea had to spend a lot of money after their transfer ban was lifted.
It's been a good week, hasn't it? If you're a Chelsea fan, of course, it looks like Timo Werner will be heading to Stamford Bridge, and that coupled with that big signing.
If you know something about Roman is that when it comes to buying players, he's like a kid in a toy store.
I want to see Kai Havertz playing, I want to see Pulisic playing, I want to see Timo Werner playing, I want to see Mason Mount playing, I want to see Kovacic playing, because Chelsea are going to be so exciting to watch next season.
That season, Chelsea would spend the most they ever spent in a single season, close to £50 million to bring in the likes of Havertz, Timo Werner, Chilwell, Ziyech and Silva. However, their most important signing was the Senegalese shot stopper.
I was there as well, either of them could have done something with it, but this is Pulisic now getting a breakaway chance.
Oh, and away from Mendy, Christian Pulisic one-on-one with Ederson, strokes it in.
Despite bringing in those many players, the team struggled in the league.
Xhaka is the Swiss. Oh! It's a scintillating goal.
City again looking Dangerous again, there's Foden, it's 2-0.
Our goalkeeper, our defense is having a pin code, Wi-Fi pin.
From an early elimination from the Carabao Cup by their London foe Tottenham to Boehly in a 3-0 lead, the team was headed for another Titanic level tragedy.
Chelsea down to 8th, everyone ahead of them with games in hand with the exception of Leicester City.
However, their Champions League campaign seemed to be going smoothly, finishing top of the group stage.
By Conte, Giroud hat-trick.
Though that was mainly due to the fact that the team was in an easy group.
He will make the run once again here. Oh, he lets it go and eventually the shot goes in.
And I'm sorry to say, the manager has got no clue at all. He has lost he's out of his depth. Kai Havertz is playing in his favourite position, number 10. But he looked like German James Charles, if I'm humbly saying.
On 25th January, Roman would cave in to the pressure and prove that even his club's greatest player was not immune to his wrath.
Meantime, we have some very big and dramatic news from the world of football, which is that Chelsea Football Club have just sacked their manager.
Oh yeah, get that nigga out of here.
Super nervous.
Known for his fast attack in football,
Quickly on the scene, Mbappe,
the German had an immediate impact on the team. With a comfortable 3-0 win over Atletico Madrid,
Mount was trying to get there, Giroud, oh yes!
Not so comfortable 2-1 win over Porto in the quarterfinals,
Oh, lovely turn by Mount, and scored!
And a 3-1 win over Real Madrid in the semi-finals.
Here, it's Christian Pulisic, Courtois, held him up, but Pulisic...
The team reached the Champions League final for the third time in their history.
I will never forget the week, how we built up to it.
Similar to the 2012 triumph, the team was going for a double, but Leicester would snatch the FA Cup from them after a thunderous strike from Tielemans.
But we continue. Here's Yuri Tielemans!
That was not the only concern going to the Champions League final. Chelsea would also lose to Aston Villa in their final game, risking their chances of missing the top 4.
He steps up here and he scores! And it's looking like a huge task now for Chelsea.
Luckily, they would get bailed out by their London rivals Tottenham.
Bale! He's done it! It's Gareth Bale!
To be honest, no, of course not. I think our goal was at that time not to win the Champions League. Our goal was to qualify for the next year into the Champions League.
If you see where we've been at that time, we've been 10th or 9th in the league.
On May 29th, 2021, Chelsea would play their first ever Champions League final since 2012. And although all odds were stacked against Chelsea,
how many did you see? 14,605. How many did we win?
the Blues, thanks to a goal by their most expensive player at the time, Kai Havertz, would lift the cup with the big ears.
Beautifully done again. That connection's been sweet. The Chilwell and Mount, and Havertz is through here. He's round Anderson and he must score. He has scored. Kai Havertz, Champions League hero. Immortality beckons if Chelsea can hold on.
The question is, how long will it take for the club to lift the highly coveted trophy again?
We have done it! Chelsea are the Champions League winner of 2021 and we are
the best coach in the world! Best coach next season, we are going to win Premier League!
Before Chelsea got their first